Ladies and gentlemen, this particular story is, believe it or not, very similar to some stories. I think maybe 2 or 3 that we've talked about on our channel. And I need to make sure and preface this before we even get started that this story is going to have some very raw details. I'm going to give the news article version of this story. And then I actually was lucky enough to be able to find some more details about this story that I could also share with you guys about this story. And I feel like the entire story is so important to what happened to this little child's life. So I need you guys to bear with me. And the first thing I need to do is give you guys a disclaimer that some people might find this content offensive and controversial. The information comes from many sources, including court records, police, and news articles. I'm also going to give my personal opinions and commentary about the facts of this story. The point of this is to try to use it as a cautionary tale in hopes of protecting children from this type of thing going forward. We have to start calling the BS out in our society, and we need to start holding people's feet to the fire that hurt and abuse our children. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer that you're going to hear raw details about this story, okay? Let me show you guys a very important picture to me. I want to introduce you guys to this little girl that you see on my screen. Her name is Ryla. It's either Rayla or Ryla, R-A-I-L-A. Ryla Nicole Montgomery. R-A-I-L-A. Ryla Nicole Montgomery is a beautiful, precious angel. The first picture I found of her is, oh, wow. Love this one right here, too. Beautiful little baby. Let me go to the main picture of her. Let me see if I can find it. I need to get that one off real quick. Y'all give me just a moment. I need to clear a couple pictures real quick. Y'all bear with me just a second. Let me make sure I get the correct pictures back up here, because I don't want to be messing that up. Okay. See if I can get that baby's picture up here. Right here. I want you guys to look at this angel. Beautiful little girl, man. Let me see if I can get it back up here. I messed it up. Hold on. Right here. Right here. I had the hardest time in the world trying to find this baby's picture. I had some information but didn't have everything. And I think we owe it to this baby to pay respects to her and tell what happened. A man is now in custody in Madison, Wisconsin. Y'all take the hugest L possible for this story. A man is now in custody and accused by police of killing a toddler on Madison's west side earlier this week and was out on parole after being accused in a series of crimes in Janesville and Maple Bluff during the first few months of 2019, court records obtained by News 3 Now show. And I'm getting this particular article from channel3000.com, so thank you for the article. I do have another article. I'll talk about that here in just a moment. Let me get this idiot's face up on the screen. The dummy that y'all see on my screen with the neck tattoos, his name is Marshawn Giles, Giles, 23 years old. Is in the Dane County Jail after he was arrested as a person of interest and then a suspect when a child was found severely injured at a West Side apartment early Monday morning. A woman was also seriously injured in what police call a domestic-related assault at the apartment and was taken to the hospital. The child died from her injuries, but the woman is expected to survive. What that sounds like to me is that this is mom's boyfriend. That's what this sounds like to me. And it sounds like this man attacked her child. She might have walked in on it, and then he turned around and attacked her. But the child got the absolute worst of this. Marshawn Giles has been wanted on a Department of Corrections warrant since December. Let me say that again. I need to make sure I say this real slow. Giles has been wanted on a Department of Corrections warrant since December. The first question you would have to ask is, how did he get access to this child? Hashtag date thugs, date death. Anybody remember our hashtag? Did nobody listen to my show? Right? Maybe all of these views we've been getting, maybe nobody listens, maybe nobody cares. Maybe they think what I'm saying is irrelevant. Maybe they think my beard braid is stupid, so they can't listen to the stories and take some information from this and maybe not continue to put their children in these situations. And from what I understand, this was not his daughter. That makes this mom's boyfriend that she had with a completely different man. He was wanted on a warrant. Records revealed on Tuesday. News records from Rock County detail a spree of incidents in early 2019 that led to his incarceration and parole with the state, many of which happened while Giles was out on bail in a case where a woman told police that Giles abused her frequently. Does anybody still like to take their children to the thug zoo and like to play with the thug lions? Nobody's learning yet. Let's keep going. The crime spree started on January the 1st when court records say Giles fled an officer at speeds of up to 115 miles per hour and spun out into a ditch. That's fast as hell. When police asked him why he ran, he said he didn't know, but guessed his head was just in the wrong place, according to court records. Bond conditions had not been yet set, and Giles was not in custody in that case when Janesville police responded on January the 18th to a domestic disturbance call. Court records say that officers could hear loud screaming when they arrived and a female telling someone to give her the gun. She told police she lived there with Giles and they were in a tumultuous relationship. Hashtag mom's boyfriend. Hashtag date thugs, date death. Hashtag stupid is as stupid thugs. What other hashtags do I have? Hashtag TTOTTT. Hashtag hood hoes love hood dick. Hashtag no jail time, give them hell time. What other ones do we have? Marshawn Giles, hashtag stupid names equals stupid things. Should I keep going? A tumultuous relationship, more or less a violent relationship. She didn't actually see a gun at the time, she told police, but said that Giles frequently abused her physically and emotionally. She says he frequently used suicide as a mechanism to keep her with him, court records indicated. Giles was arrested and posted a $150 cash bond the same day, and a few days later signed a $500 signature bond for the January 1st incident where he was accused of fleeing an officer. $100, and I hope I'm not misreading that. It says $150 cash bond the same day, and a few days later, a $500 signature bond. If an individual is a career criminal, what the hell is $500 and $150 supposed to do? He skipped his next court date on February the 7th for that case, as well as a court date on February the 18th for the domestic incident. Bench warrants were issued in both cases, and he remained at large. Here's what I can almost guarantee you. Yes, y'all heard that right, $150 and $500 separately. I think those are two separate charges. They said he was at large. Where do y'all think he was? Does anybody want to type it in the chat before I say it? If he was on the run, who do y'all think he was staying with? I believe he was staying with the same girlfriend that cried wolf and called the police and said, I need help, y'all. I need help, y'all. But then you continue to keep that same dangerous animal inside your house and continue to keep going through the same thing over and over again. Then you use the excuse by saying, I didn't know how to get away. I didn't know how to let go. I didn't know how to stop getting my ass whooped. He wouldn't cross paths with the police again until April the 4th, when court records say Janesville police responded to a call for help from Maple Bluff police who were trying to find a red Trailblazer they said was involved in a police chase and a hit-and-run crash. Now, the reason why I say that, and I know some women out there, it's not all, but some women are probably going to say that I'm being a little bit insensitive about domestic violence, and no, I don't believe that I am. This story is about black people, and last time I checked, I thought they said that black women's was the most strongest people on planet Earth. We strong, y'all. We strong. So let's put that strength to the test. You can't leave a domestic violence relationship. It don't even take effort. The same way that you call police and then turn around and then let that man come back into your house, that's a choice. That is a conscious decision that you are making to continue to put yourself and your child in danger. But we strong, y'all. Well, handle it then, strong people. Handle it. Let's keep going. Janesville police found the car and tried to pull it over, leading police to another police chase reaching speeds of 85 miles an hour before Janesville police stopped the pursuit. So I guess he must have got away. The officer saw a different car try to follow the Blazer, the driver of which told police when stopped that he had been T-boned and injured by a fleeing car. Wow. Because he knew he was not about to be able to get his damn insurance money if he couldn't even give him a license plate. So I honestly don't blame him. I don't think it's a smart thing to do with criminals, but y'all just be careful about that stuff. Anyway, police later found the car crashed, disinfected, and abandoned at a home of a woman who said she had loaned the car to Giles, who was out on bail at the time. Let me say that again. Abandoned at a home of a woman who said that she loaned this criminal a car. You helped a criminal. It's funny, I know a lot of real good dudes out there, real good fathers, real good men that nobody cares about and nobody helps. Nobody donates them a car. Nobody helps them out. Nobody donates to their GoFundMes. But these damn thugs get all the goddamn help in the world. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Am I tripping? We care more about the education of people who are incarcerated than we do of people who aren't. We show more love to people getting out of jail than people who are working a 9 to 5, working 40 to 60 hours a week, busting their ass to make sure and take care of all of their responsibilities. But they get no recognition. They get no love. He was out on bail at the time, and I can almost guarantee you that this so-called woman knew that he was already out on bail. I can almost guarantee you that. Police took Giles into custody sometime between April the 4th and April the 12th when he next appeared in court in custody for the second police chase. Online court records don't indicate what his bond conditions were for this case, but he was out again by April the 24th when he would have his next encounter with the police. Career criminal, anybody? Let's keep going. A Janesville police officer arrested Giles April the 24th after the car he was a passenger in was involved in fleeing from police. The driver did not pull over when the officer tried to make him stop for having expired registration plates, and was arrested later when officers caught up to the car for drug possession and fleeing from police. Officers searched Giles at the time and arrested him for a fully loaded handgun in his pocket, which officers later said was used in another crime, a March the 30th drive-by shooting. Do y'all think that's all? Do you want me to keep going? I think I'm going to keep going. Giles was out on bond and wanted for warrants for failing to appear in court for the January 1st chase and the domestic incident later that month when police were called on March the 30th to a shots fired report in Janesville where witnesses said that they heard 4 to 6 gunshots near the intersection before hearing vehicles speed away. Officers found 4 casings at the scene. A couple of months later in May, a person told police they were the victim in that shooting. He was he was in a car following an SUV when the SUV made a sudden U-turn. He recognized the driver and knew his nickname as Dutch, a black man with dreadlocks. That's Dutch, who he says rolled down the window and fired into his car. The victim thought the shooting was because of a bad drug deal between Dutch and another person riding in the victim's car. The victim picked up Marshawn Giles' photo out of a lineup as the person who had shot into their car with 1,000% certainty. Officers found bullet damage on the car. Let's talk a little bit more about this. We got a lot more to talk about. This is going to be really long, so y'all bear with me, okay? Ultimately, with the court cases pending parallel to each other for the string of incidents in which Marshawn Giles was accused, he would be convicted and sentenced to 6 months of jail with Huber privileges. I don't even know what that is. Huber privileges in June for bail jumping and carrying a concealed weapon from the police chase on April the 24th, and he was not driving but found with a gun. In the other cases, most of the charges include domestic abuse, were dismissed but considered in sentencing for the other criminal cases. Now, I want y'all to keep in mind, we have not even got to the little girl yet. We haven't even got to the little 3-year-old baby yet. Excuse me, 20-month-old baby. She wasn't even 2 years old yet. A year-long jail sentence with Huber privileges was withheld in the hit and run from April the 4th, where he was also convicted of bail jumping. After serving a 6-month jail sentence, it wasn't until April of 2020 that he was convicted and sentenced in the March 30th drive-by shooting. He was convicted of the drive-by, where he was given 1 year of prison and 2 years of parole for 2 counts of first-degree recklessly endangering safety. But if you were to take a gun, to let you guys know, take a gun and fire it into the air to threaten someone, don't aim it at them, but you shoot it into the air, I think you could actually face 5 to 10 years in prison just for that alone. Not even shooting in the direction of someone. Just for firing a warning shot. This man shot at someone intending to kill that person. And he got how much in time? Let's go back and look at this. 1 year in prison, 12 months. Really? That's enough to get a couple good hot meals, a good night's rest, a little exercise, and this fool right back on the streets. 1 year is nothing for a career criminal. But let's keep going. Today, Giles remains in custody without formal charges as police say that they are waiting on an autopsy report before it's likely recommending homicide charges in the toddler's death this Monday. Madison police say that they were investigating the death of the 20-month-old baby by the name of... Now, I'm giving you guys this information. This is not coming from them. I'm giving you guys this. Ryla Nicole Montgomery is the 20-month-old baby, and they're investigating that as a homicide, but the Dane County Medical Examiner has yet to determine a cause of death. Last Thursday, authorities were called to an address in Dane County involving one of the 20-month-old siblings, where Giles was named in an alleged child assault for another child in the same home as the toddler who died. Let me say that slower. He was involved with two different children with abuse incidents. Let me say that again. He was named in an alleged child assault for another child in addition to this baby. In addition to this baby. Where's the biological mother of these kids? Where's the biological father of these kids? Why do thugs continually get opportunities to play house and play father around other people's kids when clearly they don't give a damn about children or life itself? How you going to explain that? Police say that they recommend the other children stay in the care of other family members since there was no formal order to remove them from the other Dane County home due to the abuse allegation. So them kids are still in danger. Madison police say that they had consulted social workers with Child Protective Services several times while investigating that case, and both investigations remain open and active. That's part one of this story. Are y'all ready for part two? Let me also say this. Before we even get there, this story comes out of Madison, Wisconsin. Madison, Wisconsin. I'm going to urge you guys to listen to the sound of my voice. Child Protective Services, y'all have before you yet another opportunity to try to get this right. Those children are in danger. That mother sucks ass. Those children do not need to be in her possession. Y'all have an opportunity to save those children and protect these children, get them out of that household, whether it be legally putting them with a family member or just taking possession of them. Y'all need to do that. We've already lost one child on our clock. What y'all gonna do, Child Protective Services? Maybe y'all might want to protect some fucking children. Are y'all ready for part two of this story? Do y'all want the details? I think this is the part of the story where I need to put up the disclaimer a second time. Warning. Please read this because the details are about to get bad. Really bad. Please let me know that y'all heard what I just said. It's about to get really bad. I think y'all heard me. Let's get it. The man accused of killing a toddler on Madison's West Side last month faces 18 charges. 18 charges, including homicide and child sexual assault. Are y'all sure y'all ready to listen to this? I'm getting sick to my stomach just thinking about this. 18 charges, including homicide and child sexual assault. According to a newly filed criminal complaint, and he will be held on a $1 million cash bond. And I'm getting this information from mugshots.com. So thank you for this additional information. You guys can go look this up as long as they don't take the article down. Online court records showed that Marshawn Giles, aged 23 years old, that idiot, was charged with one count of first-degree intentional homicide, one count of first-degree child sexual assault, one count of second-degree recklessly endangering safety, one count of second-degree sexual assault, and one count of substantial battery. If that wasn't enough, there's more. He also is facing 5 counts of battery, 1 count of child abuse, 4 counts of disorderly conduct, 2 counts of possessing a firearm, and 1 count of criminal damage to property. Now, here's the alleged assault, and this is where I'm going to need y'all to really, really hold on to your panties. According to a criminal complaint, a caller with the initials DMP said that her daughter with the initials RNM, which is Rayla Nicole Montgomery. So I'm just putting it out there. They didn't put it out there, but it did lead me to some clues. I found her name. She's deceased. You can't protect her, so why even protect her name? Dropped 3 children off at her home while she and Giles went to Milwaukee on April the 13th. The children's mother was supposed to return the next day, but she did not. The children's mother was supposed to return the next day, and the mother did not return the next day. The grandparent took care of the children through the weekend, and the children's mother picked them up at 6 a.m. on April the 17th. Giles allegedly hit a 7-year-old child with the initials CMB, and no, not the Cash Money Boys, in the face on April the 18th while at the apartment of the child's mother on 5600 block of Schroeder Road, mom's boyfriend. A second child, a 5-year-old with the initials JRR, told investigators that Giles threatened him with a pistol. That also sounds like all 3 of these children might have different daddies. So you have one initial, RNM. You have one initial as CMB. Then you have one initial as, where's it at? JRR. 3 children, 3 different last names. See how I draw these conclusions? Do y'all see why they don't? And Illicit Deeds, put the article in there. Thank you very much. And shout out to Illicit Deeds. Y'all can definitely go in the chat and click that article. Check it out. It's in the chat. So I'm drawing these conclusions. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm just saying it sounds like 3 different baby daddies plus mom's boyfriend. Let's keep going. This is an interaction with Child Protective Services. On April the 22nd, the child's grandparent called police alleging that Giles had assaulted her daughter, causing bruises and abrasions to her face. The woman and the children had gone to the grandparents' home, but the woman later decided to return to her Schroeder Road address. According to the complaint, the grandparents said Giles, Marshawn Giles, that man right there, had made the children apologize for speaking with the police after the alleged April 18th incident. Did y'all catch that? He tried to force the children not to say what happened because he treated those children like shit. Abused the dog crap out of these children and then made them apologize for not lying and telling the truth about what really happened. Isn't that something? Who's going to cry for these children? Who's going to be the advocate for these children? Huh? The mom wasn't. But let's keep going. Giles allegedly broke the children's mother's computer, handed her a gun, and told her to kill herself. He also allegedly pushed her into the bathroom door. After speaking to the children's grandparent, detectives spoke with Child Protective Services. A social worker said that they were aware of the incident, but that there was no imminent danger for the children's mother or the children, and they would not intervene. We got a dead child on our hands now. Are you sure? You sure they were never in danger? Oh, that's right. It's too fucking late. You had all the red flags, not even yellow flags. These were all red flags, and they all got ignored. Even just the fact that this mother had her children around a thug that was clearly in trouble all the time with the police. She knew what he was up to. Potentially slanging drugs, potentially gangbanging or whatever he was doing. And she continued to allow that to be around her children. Was that not enough? Oh, it took a dead child in order to get us to this point, to $1 million bond. But let's keep going. According to the complaint, the worker told detectives that the allegations of ongoing physical abuse were not enough to justify danger to the kids, and the allegations of guns in the household were not enough to have the children removed from the home. Wow. Then this baby dies. Rayla dies. The child's mother, excuse me, I missed the part. On April 25th, just before 3 a.m., officers were sent to the 5600 block of Schroeder Road. Officers found the children's mother wrapped in only a blanket and a towel, screaming, "He killed my baby." I'm assuming she is referring to her boyfriend. I can ask, matter of fact, let me put those charges on the screen so y'all can see that as well. For those who might want to maybe look this information up for yourself, I'll cut out a little bit of the legwork for you. Let me see if I can make that big enough on the screen. Can y'all see all of those charges? The children's mother had facial injuries and told officers that Giles had beaten her up. The woman and Giles had been driving home from Milwaukee when Giles began what she called tweaking, allegedly pointing a gun at her head and threatening to kill her. He also allegedly threw her phone out of a car window. The two arrived at home and ate dinner, but afterward, Giles allegedly began tweaking again and began saying that there was someone in one of the bedrooms, but no one was in the room. Giles then began breaking things and allegedly slapped and punched the woman. Giles then called her into her daughter's room. The woman's daughter was identified as 20-month-old RM, which we now know as Rayla Nicole Montgomery. Once in the toddler's room, Giles allegedly tried to force the children's mother to have sex with him. He slapped her and punched her in the face. He also allegedly slapped and punched the toddler. The complaint alleges that Giles picked up the toddler and threw her into a bathroom toward the bathroom before punching her and the mother more. He then allegedly picked up the toddler and threw her into an open toilet. This is a 20-month-old baby we're talking about. The child's mother did not have her phone and couldn't call the police, so she ran from the apartment screaming to get help. She suffered a fractured nose, a scalp contusion, and a forehead hematoma. Let me read that part again. The children's mother did not have her phone and could not call the police, so she ran from the apartment screaming to get help. So what does that mean? For those who have watched my channel for long enough, who did she leave behind? Who did mom leave behind? That would mean that she left that angel by herself. You brought this angel to the thug zoo, opened up the thug lion cage and walked in with your baby. And as soon as the thug lion behaved like a thug lion does and started to maul the both of yous, you decided to open up the cage and run out and leave your baby in the thug lion cage. So what do y'all think happened to the baby after mom left the baby in the thug lion cage? Yep. Y'all got it. She didn't give a damn about that kid and she wanted to save her own ass. Isn't that something? All these people who claim that these type of mothers would give their life for their children and protect their children, and no, they don't. It's not all. We got a lot of good mothers out there. The mothers who listen to my channel are good mothers. But there are a lot of mothers who put themselves before their children. We'll talk about that as a whole at another point. Officers arriving at the scene entered the apartment and found blood on the walls and surfaces. An adult male could be heard talking to himself. As police made their way towards where the voice was coming from, Giles reportedly came out of the master bedroom completely naked. Keep in mind, the baby was there with him and mom ran. He came out the bedroom completely naked. The complaint alleges that Giles refused to follow officers' commands, and they had to wrestle him to the ground in order to take him into custody. Officers entered the master bedroom and found the toddler lying naked on her back with a pillow over her face and neck. This old fake ass Ty Dolla Sign ass nigga here, man. I want to say some things that I can't even say on YouTube. I can't even say these words, but some of my parents out there understand the thoughts that are going through my mind and my heart right now. Some of y'all who are listening right now understand the thoughts that are going through my heart and my mind right now. I don't even want to read that again. Officers removed the pillow and saw that her face had bruises and cuts, and her lips were turning blue, and she had a weak pulse. Officers and EMS workers began to perform life-saving measures, and she was taken to the UW emergency room, was pronounced dead at 3:42 a.m. The children's mother spoke to officers at the UWER, giving further details about what happened the morning of April the 25th. I'm so freaking mad right now. I can't even hardly do this story. I can't even freaking finish reading this. The complaint alleges that Giles had forced her to perform oral sex on him in the master bedroom and slapped and punched her while she was doing so. Giles allegedly slammed the toddler into an open toilet multiple times and threw her into a bathtub before punching her in the head. Another bathtub story. She said the two began dating in January of 2022 after Giles messaged her on Facebook. The two began living together in February, the very next month. She didn't know a damn thing about this fool. 1 month. And you already let this man around your kids. Probably dragging them baby daddies through hell and high water. But let the thug walk right in. That's okay. She said things started out good, but Giles began to become controlling during the weeks leading up to the toddler's death. Are y'all ready to hear the autopsy results? Because they didn't talk about this. According to the complaint, an autopsy showed Rayla Nicole Montgomery suffered blunt force injuries to the head, including skull fractures. A doctor said that she suffered over 10 impacts to the head, and she also suffered blunt force injuries consistent with sexual assault. The cause of death was ruled as blunt force injuries to the head, torso, and extremities from being assaulted. The bond was set at $1 million. During a Monday afternoon initial appearance, Dane County Court Commissioner Brian Asmus said that he likely hasn't seen anything as serious in his 22-year career. I'll skip all of that part. Asmus ultimately ordered Giles to be held on $1 million cash bond. As conditions of his bond, Giles must avoid any and all dangerous weapons, any controlled substances, and any contact with the victim's family. If he posts bond, Giles will be placed on house arrest as a condition of his release. So we're just praying that that doesn't happen. Giles' next court appearance is a status conference scheduled for July 25th, next month. Let me give you guys the fair usage. I'm just so lost for words. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. The story, like I said, is more than difficult to hear. It's more than difficult to hear. But we can all share in the memory of this baby and share her story, because I believe that the world needs to hear her true and full story about what happened. There are really very, very few sources, if any, that have this story out there. So if y'all would share it from here, share the story, and hit that thumbs up, please, okay? Here we go. Let's get it.
Inside the West Side apartment complex in the past day remind us just how heartbreaking this story is. We spoke with people at a growing memorial today at the site of yesterday's incident. The makeshift memorial is filled with candles and balloons, but most importantly, an abundance of toys, all to remember an innocent child just 20 months old who was killed. Jasmine Brown, a leader for Feeding the Youth in Madison, came to drop off balloons and a teddy bear in the child's honor today.
How could you not be heartbroken or just sad in general for what's going on? I mean, it's a 20-month-old child. They, for all aspects, are 100% innocent.
Brown says now is the time to come together as a community to support all of those affected by this senseless tragedy.
Arguably, there isn't an amount because the facts are so grievous and serious with the prior record to expect that somebody's going to voluntarily appear in court.
Strong words from a Dane County Court Commissioner just moments ago, choosing to hold Marshawn Giles on $1 million cash bond. Giles accused of killing a young girl in Madison late last month. And earlier this afternoon, prosecutors charged him with 18 counts, including murder and child sexual assault.
In court records, he's accused of physically and sexually assaulting both the toddler and her mother and throwing the child several times on the night she died. We already knew Child Protective Services was involved, but Naomi Coles reveals how much more contact there was than we previously knew. Naomi?
Court records say that children told police that Giles threatened them with guns, physically abused them. Now, Giles had assaulted their mom and given her a gun, telling her to kill herself. All of this in just the days leading up to the toddler's death. But when police trying to get CPS to formally remove the children from the home where the mom and boyfriend lived, CPS said it still wasn't enough to prove the children were in imminent danger. According to the court records, the only reason that the toddler's two older siblings were not at home at the night the girl died, it was because they themselves refused to go home with their mom that night when she picked up the toddler. They told police and their grandparents several times they didn't feel safe at home. This wasn't the first time the CPS got involved with Giles. I reported on his lengthy criminal history in Rock County in 2019, the string of incidents that landed him behind bars until last year. Now, we're also learning CPS was involved in that county for two other children, but ultimately they closed the case because they couldn't find a gun that the victims said they were being threatened with. Court records also say Giles had been dating the toddler's mother for a few months, starting in January. The mom said it started fine, and it was only in the few weeks before the girl's death that he started becoming abusive and controlling.
It's hard to imagine more serious, grievous facts than what's alleged here. We see people who get $1 million bail for first-degree intentional homicide, and they have no prior criminal convictions. Here we're alleging the sex assault and murder of a young child. I can't imagine anything more serious. I'm not sure that I've seen anything more serious in my 22-year career. That provides a lot of incentive to not appear in court. Getting aside from the other factors that are really not in Mr. Giles's favor, I'm told there was an extradition from another state, so he's been a fugitive from justice. There are a couple of recent missed court dates on, I think, misdemeanor level matters. So that's concerning because the stakes are much higher given the nature of these charges here that we have today. We have somebody who's also apparently had a history of resistive obstructive behavior or flight from law enforcement. We have somebody who was out on supervision at the time and has previously been convicted of other crimes. Most notably, I think it was a first-degree recklessly endangering safety, which is a very violent crime. So it's hard to imagine that a court isn't going to set a significant prison sentence and potentially deny any sort of early release upon a life sentence, which is required upon conviction for first-degree intentional homicide. Obviously, the earliest one could be eligible for release on extended supervision is 20 years. I just think that provides so much incentive for Mr. Giles not to appear in court that the state's request is the bare minimum that's necessary to assure appearance in court. Arguably, there isn't an amount because the facts are so grievous and serious with the prior record to expect that somebody's going to voluntarily appear in court. So I'm going to set the $1 million cash bail that was requested.
And yes, y'all noticed that no remorse. Thank you for those who called it out. You could clearly tell from that video that that fool had no remorse at all. No remorse for life. No remorse for his girlfriend. No remorse for the fact that this man won't have a future. Not even any remorse after you've sat in jail for a period of time, for however long he's been in there, and had time to reflect on what you did to those other children and ultimately what you did to this 20-month-old baby that could not speak for herself. She could not defend herself, and she could not do like her mother did and run from the thug lion cage that her mama not only brought her to, but left her and abandoned her in. CPS, in my opinion, also abandoned this child when they had multiple opportunities to save all of these children. They did not. We don't see any reason. We don't see any danger, immediate danger, until somebody dies. You have yellow flags and red flags. Matter of fact, somebody with what they say has a lengthy criminal history. That should be a warning sign right there, should it not? Should that not automatically qualify you? Just you having a long criminal history by itself, that should disqualify you from being around children, in my humble opinion. Then to follow that up, accusations of domestic violence and abuse. Let alone that, the mom calling and having you arrested and complaints. Let alone that, the children reporting it from their own mouths. And I'm going to tell you something that disgusts me with the city of Madison and with the state of Wisconsin is the fact that a child, a baby, actually had the ability to speak and tell you what happened. And what did you say? Psh, those kids don't know what they're talking about. I don't see them being in any danger at all. What happens? More violence, more threats, more violent behavior. And it got aggressively worse. Why? Because this man thought he was infallible. Why? Because no matter how many times he continued to fuck up, there was always a woman there to wipe his ass, to take him in, to take this thug lion into her house for her own pleasures at the behest of her own children. If you ask me, I think it's disgusting that they continue to hide the identities of these mothers who continue to put their children around these dangerous criminals and continue to perpetuate this behavior by not having any real consequences and repercussions. Yes, protect the children's identities, the ones who are living. But what about the dead one? She can't be harmed anymore. You didn't want to share her story. You know why you didn't want to share her story and share her name and share her picture? Because if you ask me, the reason why Wisconsin didn't reveal that information is because they didn't give a shit. In my humble opinion. Show me that you care. In Texas, we have super aggravated child abuse laws that judge criminals way more harshly than other states for crimes against our babies, especially our babies under the age of 10 years old, because they cannot physically defend themselves whatsoever. And it's not to say that any child from age 11 to 15 or 16 can't either, but they have a little bit more ability, a little bit more verbiage that they can express to be able to defend themselves in a way to potentially get them out of a situation. But let me ask you, what was 20-month-old Ryla Nicole Montgomery supposed to do to defend herself? Who could she call? You think she could call her dad? She doesn't have the ability to. You think she could fight mom's boyfriend off? She didn't have the ability to. So who's going to cry for 20-month-old Ryla Nicole Montgomery? I would love to see the state of Wisconsin, the city of Madison, try to make up for this, because you've already messed it up. I would love to see you make up for this in the legal system and charge him accordingly. Even I don't see why he needs to have any more breath inside of his body. I think he needs to be rush mailed to Satan immediately. There's a special place in hell for people who do this type of thing to children that I don't even want to repeat the words of what this baby went through. He is Satan's spawn, and Satan needs his child back. I think the mom, clearly knowing, in my humble opinion, that this man had all of these troubles in his history, demonstrated these behaviors early in the relationship, and continued to leave her children around this man that ultimately ended up abusing the other children because they witnessed it, they experienced the physical abuse, and also ultimately killed one of her children that she claimed that she loved. I think mom should get half as much time in prison as he do. When are we going to have some laws like that? When you put your children in harm's way. If there were a speeding train coming and you take your child and you set that child in front of a speeding train and that speeding train hit your kid, should you not be charged? Should you not be held accountable? I think you should. But we don't do that in our society. Not often enough. Well, I wasn't the one driving the train, but you put your child in the situation. And I could almost guarantee you, if that baby had sanctioned thoughts of her own, she wouldn't be in this position and she wouldn't be around this fool. I would love to know where the biological fathers are. If they are out there, speak out, say something. Somebody reach out and say something. But who knows where the dads are? So if mom liked the thug, then maybe the dads are probably all in jail. Who knows? I don't know. But we haven't heard from anybody because people are scared to speak up. But I would love for somebody to have the courage and speak out against this besides just me in the AFC. I would love to see more people participate and give our children a voice that they absolutely need. Okay? From my heart to yours, thank y'all for listening to this very difficult story to listen to. Okay? And we will definitely do an update on this. And hopefully this man will never see the light of day. And hopefully we can give him the end and swift justice hopefully under the ultimate penalty under law. But thank you guys so much for listening to 20-month-old, I said 20-month-old baby, Ryla Nicole Montgomery. Thank y'all for listening to that baby's story. Thank you.